Okay, so now we're to our decreasing charge methods. And the one that we'll do here is double declining balance. Sometimes it'll be 1.5 declining balance, but we'll stick with double declining for the moment. And so in these methods, the decreasing charge, that means that the depreciation expense will decrease over time. The higher depreciation expense at the beginning makes up for the higher maintenance costs later. And it also assumes that the asset is the most productive in its early life. Okay, we're going to be applying a constant percentage to the book value, which will be declining over time. And I think the easiest thing is to just look at the example, and I'll show you how it works. So we're going to use the same information, the 315 cost, 10-year life, and 15,000 salvage. So when we do double declining balance, the first thing that we notice is that we are not going to take off the salvage at the top like we did with the straight line and units of activity. We're going to start with the book value of the asset. And then we have to figure out, the first thing we actually have to figure out is what is the rate going to be. And when you say double declining, it has to be double something. So what's it double of? Well, it's double the straight line rate for that asset. And so the straight line rate, the estimated life of this asset is 10 years. So the straight line rate would be 1/10 each year, okay? And so if you double that, 1/10 times 2 is 2/10, or 1/5, or 0.2. So your double declining balance rate would be 0.20, okay? So you take the number of years and say, yeah, it's okay, so it's 1/10 each year, multiply it times 2, that gives you 2/10, and then this is just converting it into a decimal, okay? I have a few done out here just for fun. So if you had a 4-year life asset, the straight line rate would be 1/4 times 2. Your double declining rate would be 2/4, which equals 50%. And I'll leave you to work through the rest of them. Okay, so you have to compute the rate based on the straight line rate and 2 times it. And then what do? Well, for 2017, we'd start with the actual cost of the asset, the 315. We're not taking off the salvage. We multiply that times our rate, which is 0.20, and then the depreciation expense for year 2017 is 63,000. That would be if we had it the whole year, but these do have to get adjusted because we bought this in May, if you remember from the straight line. So when we go to do the depreciation rate for 2017, something wrong here. We have to do the 63,000 times the months that we had it in service. So that would be times, what was it, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Is that 8 months? So 8/12. Let me just double check that. If we do the yearly times 8/12, yes, okay, 8 months. And so for the second year, then what happens is, this is going to be the book value, okay, book value. So the new book value is going to be the 315 minus the accumulated depreciation to date. So we're doing the journal entry of depreciation expense, accumulated depreciation. So 315 minus 42 gives you a new book value, which is cost less accumulated depreciation, of 273. We multiply that by the same rate, and we get the depreciation expense for 2018, which is going to be for a full year because we had it all that year. So then for 2019, we'd go 273 minus the 54 minus this, and we'd get to our new, oh no, I'm sorry. We back up there, pretend I never said that. For 2018, we had this book value to begin the year. We took this amount more depreciation, so this minus this would give us our new book value that we would multiply by 20% for the next year. Okay, so it's a little bit trickier than, you just have to keep in mind that you start off with the cost of the asset, do not take off the salvage. Eventually, this will get depreciated down to the salvage value. So work through a few of them, and if you have questions, you know where you can get a hold of me. Okay.